light, dim the streets in moonlight bright. We dissect the cinematic art, real by real we pull apart.
Hello and welcome back to Real Talk, the podcast where we dive deep into the films that shape us, challenge us, and open our eyes to new perspectives. I'm your host Josh, and today we are turning our focus to a truly remarkable film, Pariah, directed by Dee Rees and released in 2011. Now, Pariah is a deeply moving coming-of-age story. It's centered around Alike, a 17-year-old black girl living in Brooklyn. Alike is navigating a pivotal period in her life, balancing the complexities of her identity, her family's expectations, and her own burgeoning understanding of her sexuality. This is a story of self-discovery, resilience, and the courage it takes to live authentically in a world that often demands conformity. On its surface, Pariah fits comfortably within the coming-of-age genre. But I think what makes it really stand out is the perspective it brings. It becomes not your typical coming-of-age film. It was directed, as I mentioned, by Dee Rees, a queer black filmmaker, and it's anchored by an unforgettable performance by Adepero Oduye, I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, as Alike. Pariah brings a voice to a group of people often underrepresented in mainstream cinema. The film also holds a significant place in the broader landscape of women-directed cinema. Dee Rees not only challenges the norms of storytelling, but also reshapes what it means to tell a deeply personal narrative that resonates on a universal level. And when we talk about LGBTQ plus representation in film, Pariah is a shining example of what authentic, nuanced storytelling can achieve. In today's episode, I hope to unpack what makes Pariah so special. I'm going to explore the artistry of Dee Rees, dive into the layered narrative and the compelling characters, and examine the film's themes of identity, family, and love. By the end, I hope you'll see why Pariah is not just a film, but a milestone in cinema that really deserves its place in the spotlight. So whether this is the first time you're hearing about Pariah, or you're revisiting it again with fresh eyes, stick around. There is so much to discover about this beautifully crafted and emotionally profound film. Let's just get started. Dee Rees, the writer and director of Pariah, has a journey into filmmaking that is as inspiring and complex as the stories she tells on screen. Born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee, Rees initially pursued a career in business. She earned a degree in creative writing and business administration from Florida A&M University. But the world of suits and spreadsheets couldn't hold back her creative spirit. Her love of storytelling eventually led her to NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, where she honed her craft as a filmmaker. During her time at NYU, Rees began working as an intern for Spike Lee, a mentor who would later serve as an executive producer on this film. It was during this period that she started developing Pariah as a short film. The short, released in 2011, drew heavily from Rees' own experience as a queer black woman coming of age. It explored themes of identity, family tension, and the struggle for acceptance, and they were all told with a very raw, emotional honesty that resonated deeply with audiences at the time. The success of the shorts film on the festival circuit served as both validation and motivation for Rees to expand the story into a feature-length project. So over the next few years, she worked tirelessly to bring this vision to life. Facing the usual challenges of securing funding as an emerging filmmaker and the additional hurdles of being a black queer woman in an industry still overly dominated by white male voices. But when Pariah was finally released in 2011, it landed during a really transformative period for cinema and culture. The early 2010s saw a growing demand for stories that reflected the diversity of the human experience. LGBTQ plus representation, while still limited, was beginning to gain traction, with films like Brokeback Mountain and Milk paving the way for broader acceptance. However, few films at the time explored queer identities from the perspective of black women, making Pariah a really groundbreaking and necessary addition to the conversation. The film also arrived during a golden age for independent cinema. Platforms like Sundance and distribution networks like Focus Features and A24 were all beginning to amplify diverse voices in mainstream Hollywood had been overlooking. These indie films thrived by offering authentic, intimate stories that stood in stark contrast to blockbuster spectacles. And Pariah was no exception. It stood out, not just for its subject matter, but for its nuanced portrayal of intersectional identities, capturing the complexities of being queer, black, and a woman in America. Dee Rees herself described Pariah as autobiographical in emotion, a reflection of her own struggles and triumphs as she navigated her identity and her place in the world. This personal connection to the material imbues the film with a profound sense of authenticity. Rees didn't just create a film, she created a mirror for those who had been long unseen in the cinematic landscape, offering a story that was deeply specific, yet still universally resonant. Pariah wasn't just a moment for independent film or LGBTQ plus cinema, it was a moment for cultural reflection. It arrived at the intersection of a changing industry and an evolving social consciousness, challenging us as audiences to consider whose stories we value and why. This context amplifies the film's significance and underscores why it remains a vital piece of cinema today. By crafting Pariah, Dee Rees didn't just find her voice, she really amplified the voices of countless others, carving out space for stories that demand to be told. Now, so Pariah is a deeply personal story of self-discovery, courage, and resilience. The film follows the 17-year-old Aliki, as I mentioned, played by Adepero Oduye, as she navigates two conflicting worlds. First, the strict expectations of her religious family, and then the burgeoning realization of her identity as a lesbian. Her journey is fraught with tension, moments of triumph, and heartbreaking realizations, and it really captures the essence of what it means to come of age in a world that often forces conformity over authenticity. From the opening moments, we're immersed in Aliki's dual existence. By day, she is a dutiful daughter, adhering to the rules set by her conservative mother, Audrey. By night, she steps into the vibrant world of queer culture, frequenting clubs with her openly lesbian best friend, Laura. These dualities create a compelling tension that drives the narrative and makes Aliki's journey not just about self-discovery, but also about navigating the spaces where she can exist authentically. The characters surrounding Aliki are just as integral to the film's emotional weight, each one representing a facet of the societal and familial pressures she faces. Audrey is a strict disciplinarian who clings to traditional notions of family and morality. She's played with an extreme intensity by Kim Wayans. Audrey's struggle to accept her daughter's identity adds so many layers of complexity to their fraught relationship. her attempts to impose control, whether through forcing Alike to wear more traditionally feminine clothing or attempting to steer her away from Laura, they all underscore the pain and disconnection that often accompany a lack of acceptance. Arthur, Alike's father, offers a contrasting dynamic. While he is more lenient than Audrey, his emotional distance creates another layer of alienation. He operates in the gray area of tacit acknowledgement without full acceptance, embodying the quieter but equally impactful ways familial rejection can manifest. Charles Parnell's portrayal of Arthur adds nuance to this dynamic, showing how silence can oftentimes speak so much louder than words. And then there's Laura, Alike's best friend and one of the most compelling characters in the film. Laura is played by Pernell Walker, and she's unapologetically herself. She provides this stark contrast to Alike's tentative exploration of her identity. She's already faced rejection from her own family and now lives with her sister, scraping by to make a life for herself. But despite her struggles, Laura is a source of strength and encouragement for Alike, embodying the kind of resilience that Alike actually aspires to. Her friendship is a cornerstone of the film, offering both moments of levity and some really profound emotional connection. But amid all these relationships, Alike's character arc really shines. Her tentative steps towards embracing her identity are all handled with a tenderness and authenticity that eschews the cliches. For instance, her first romantic relationship with Bina, a seemingly supportive friend, becomes a turning point. Because here Bina initially appears as an ally, someone who encourages Alike to step out of her comfort zone. But as their relationship evolves, her casual dismissal of Alike's feelings reveals the complexities and heartbreaks of first love. But I think what sets Pariah apart from many coming-of-age stories is its perspective. Dee Rees approaches this journey with a very uniquely female lens, one that prioritizes empathy and emotional depth over any spectacle. The film takes the time to explore the intricacies of Alike's relationships, particularly with her mother, creating a narrative that's rich in emotional resonance. The female perspective is evident, not only in the storytelling, but also in the way the film frames its characters. There is an intimacy to the cinematography, a focus on the quiet moments, Alike writing poetry in her notebook, the lingering glances exchanged in moments of vulnerability that brings the audience even closer to her internal world. And Dee Rees also subverts many of the tropes often seen in other LGBTQ plus type coming-of-age stories. Alike's journey isn't framed as a tragedy, nor is it overly sanitized to appeal to mainstream sensibilities. Instead, it's very raw in its an honest portrayal of a young woman finding her voice amidst the noise of societal and familial expectations. The film's narrative isn't just about Alike claiming her identity, but also about the cost of that authenticity. The climactic moments of the film, which I won't spoil here, but they show the difficult choices that Alike must make to carve out a space for herself. These moments, they resonate deeply because they are grounded in emotional truths that define adolescence and the universal quest for self-acceptance. Ultimately, Pariah is a triumph of character-driven storytelling. Each relationship, from the strained dynamics with her parents to the supportive yet imperfect bond with Laura, adds depth to Alike's journey. It's a narrative that doesn't just tell a story, but it really invites us to feel every moment of it. Through Alike's eyes, we experience the fear, the joy, and the bittersweet victories of becoming who we are meant to be. So, Pariah is also a profound exploration of identity in all its facets: sexual, racial, familial, individual. And it's a story about finding one's place in a world that often marginalizes or rejects outright difference. Through Alike's experience, Dee Rees is able to paint a vivid picture of the courage and resilience required to embrace one's true self, even in the face of opposition. One of the film's most compelling themes is the tension between conformity and authenticity. Alike is caught between two worlds: that rigid expectation of her religious conservative family and the freedom she finds in Brooklyn's vibrant queer community. And this duality is expressed in every aspect of her life. From the clothes she wears to the poetry she writes, her struggle to reconcile these identities reflects a broader, universal battle faced by anyone who feels compelled to hide or suppress who they truly are. Alike's journey is one of sexual self-discovery, and Pariah does an exceptional job of portraying this process with both sensitivity and authenticity. Her burgeoning realization of her sexuality is both deeply personal and universally relatable. It's not just about coming out, but also about understanding and accepting herself. The film resists oversimplifying or romanticizing this journey. Instead, it acknowledges the complexities of Alike's reality, her fear of rejection, the tentative steps she takes towards exploring her identity, and the setbacks she faces along the way. For instance, her relationship with Bina is both a breakthrough and a lesson. What begins as a safe space to explore feelings turns bittersweet when she's dismissed and the connection was just a phase. This moment encapsulates the vulnerability of first love and the challenges of navigating one's identity in a world that doesn't really understand or accept it all the time. The family dynamics in Pariah are central to its exploration of identity. Alike's mother, Audrey, embodies the oppressive force of societal and religious conformity. Her refusal to accept Alike's identity isn't just about homophobia. It's about the fear of losing control over the image of her family and the life she's envisioned. Audrey's rigid worldview and desperate attempts to fix Alike highlight the destructive power of denial and the pain it causes both parent and child. And on the other side, Alike's father, Arthur, offers a quieter but equally significant perspective. His leniency and subtle acknowledgement of Alike's identity may seem like support, but his emotional distance creates a different kind of rejection. He represents a societal pattern where silence and inaction can be just as harmful as overt disapproval. The relationship between Alike and Laura, however, provides much needed counterbalance. It's Laura's authenticity and loyalty that serve as a beacon of hope for Alike. Through Laura, the film explores the importance of chosen family, the people who accept and support you when your biological family can't. Pariah also dives into the intersectionality of race, sexuality, and gender. Alike's identity as a queer black woman places her at a unique crossroads, where she faces marginalization from multiple angles. The film doesn't shy away from the complexity, instead embraces it as a vital part of Alike's story. Her experience highlight the unique challenges faced by those navigating intersecting identities, particularly within communities that may hold traditional or conservative views. Dee Rees' use of symbolism and visual storytelling elevates Pariah beyond its narrative. and it creates a richly textured cinematic experience. One of the most striking, symbolic elements is the film's use of light and color. Lighting plays a pivotal role in conveying Alike's emotional journey. Warm tones, often seen in scenes with Laura or during moments of self-expression, they symbolize safety, acceptance, and love. In contrast, cold, stark lighting dominates scenes of conflict or isolation, particularly during interactions with her family. For example, the harsh, sterile lighting in Audrey's home emphasizes the rigidity and discomfort Alike feels there, while the soft, inviting glow of the queer spaces she visits highlights the freedom she finds in embracing her true self. Clothing is another key symbol. Throughout the film, Alike's wardrobe reflects her evolving identity. In one particularly poignant scene, she sheds her tomboyish clothing for a more traditionally feminine outfit at her mother's insistence. This act, though small, is laden with meaning. It's a moment of compromise, a temporary masking of her true self to appease those around her. Yet, as the film progresses, we see Alike reclaim her identity through her attire, ultimately rejecting the constraints imposed upon her. And Alike's poetry serves as another powerful symbol. Her words are a window into her soul, offering insight into her thoughts, fears, and aspirations. Poetry becomes her sanctuary. This is a space where she can articulate her feelings without fear of judgment. And the act of writing is both cathartic and empowering, allowing Alike to process her experiences and assert her own voice. Now, for me, one of the most beautiful aspects of Pariah is its celebration of identity as fluid and transformative. Alike's journey isn't about arriving at a fixed destination. It's about embracing the ongoing process of self-discovery. The film captures this through subtle, powerful moments, such as shifting relationships with those around her and her evolving sense of self-expression. Dee Rees uses small, quiet moments to illustrate this fluidity. A lingering glance, a tentative smile, or a single line of poetry carries immense weight, reflecting the internal and external battles that Alike faces. These moments remind us that identity isn't static. It's a living, breathing part of who we are, shaped by our experiences and relationships. While Pariah is deeply rooted in Alike's specific experiences as a queer black teenager in Brooklyn, its themes are universal. The struggle to reconcile who we are with who the world expects us to be is one that transcends race, gender, and sexuality. And Dee Rees' ability to tell a story that is both deeply personal and universally relatable is what makes Pariah such a powerful film. In its exploration of identity, family, and self-expression, Pariah is able to remind us that strength takes to really be ourselves. Through its rich themes and symbolism, the film invites us to reflect on our own journeys and the ways we navigate the intersections of our identities. This is a story of resilience, authenticity, and ultimately the triumph of self-love over societal expectation. When Pariah premiered at the Sundance Film Festival in 2011, it was met with an overwhelmingly positive response. Critics and audiences alike praised the film for its raw and emotional storytelling and the nuanced performances of its cast, particularly Adepero Oduye's portrayal of Alike. Oduye's performance was heralded as both powerful and understated, capturing the complexities of a young woman navigating a deeply personal journey of self-discovery. Her ability to convey Alike's internal struggles and quiet moments of triumph resonated with the viewers, and it left a lasting impression on the critics and audiences alike. The film's authenticity was a central point of acclaim. Critics highlighted Dee Rees' ability to tell a story that felt both personal yet relatable. The sense of authenticity stemmed from Rees' own experiences, which informed the script and brought a layer of emotional truth to the narrative. The portrayal of intersectional identities, queer, black, and female, was groundbreaking in its depth and nuance, a rarity in mainstream cinema at the time. The visuals and storytelling style also garnered praise. Critics lauded Rees' ability to use lighting, music, and cinematography to enhance the emotional weight of the story. The film's commitment to visual storytelling elevated its impact, with many noting how the carefully crafted imagery added depth to the narrative. Despite its critical success, though, Pariah faced challenges in reaching a wider audience. As an independent film with a modest budget, its release was limited, and it struggled to gain the mainstream visibility that it deserved. The film's subject matter, centered on the experiences we talked about, was groundbreaking but also very niche, which may have contributed to its limited commercial reach. This lack of widespread visibility was a common issue for independent films, particularly those that tackled the marginalized perspectives. While Pariah found its audience among LGBTQ communities and people like myself, the cinephiles, its impact could have been even greater with a broader release and a more substantial marketing support. But Pariah didn't go unnoticed by the film industry. The film won the Excellence in Cinematography Award at Sundance, a testament to Bradford Young, the cinematographer, his stunning visual work. Additionally, Dee Rees received nominations and accolades for her directing and writing, solidifying her status as a filmmaker to watch. Adepero Oduye's performance earned her nominations for several awards, including Independent Spirit Award for Best Female Lead. These accolades helped to elevate the film's profile, even as it remained underappreciated by mainstream audiences at its time of release. In the years since, Pariah has achieved a sort of cult status, particularly within LGBTQ+ cinema. It's now regarded as kind of a cornerstone in the genre, a film that broke barriers and opened doors for more stories that explore those intersections of race, sexuality, and gender. Rees' success with Pariah paved the way for her future projects, most notably 2017's Mudbound, which earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Adapted Screenplay. Rees' rise to prominence has been an inspiration for aspiring filmmakers, especially women and people of color, demonstrating the power of authentic storytelling. And the film's influence extends beyond its director. Pariah inspired a new wave of intersectional narratives in both independent and mainstream cinema. Films and television shows that explore similar themes, such as 2016's Academy Award winner Moonlight and the TV show from 2018 to 2021 Pose, both owe a debt to Pariah for helping to normalize these stories and showing that there is demand for them. And as more people have discovered Pariah through streaming platforms and retrospectives, its reputation has only grown. The film is now studied in academic settings as a vital text in both LGBTQ+ and African American cinema. Its ability to tackle heavy themes like identity, rejection, and self-acceptance, while maintaining a sense of hope and resilience, make it a timeless work. Many critics who revisited the film in the later years have expressed regret that it didn't receive the mainstream recognition it deserved at the time of release. Some even place it among the best films of the 2010s, citing its emotional depth and cultural significance. Ultimately, Pariah has proven to be more than just a critically acclaimed independent film. It's a trailblazer. Its impact can be felt not only in the stories that have followed, but also in the lives of those who saw themselves reflected on screen, perhaps for the very first time. The film's enduring relevance is a testament to the power of authentic storytelling. By sharing such a deeply personal narrative, Dee Rees created a work that speaks to universal truths about identity, family, and the amount of courage it takes to live authentically. This is a film that continues to inspire audiences and filmmakers, proving that even in the face of limited resources and visibility, a story told with honesty and heart can leave a mark on the cultural landscape. So what's the film's significance? Pariah is a profound statement about identity, resilience, and the transformative power of representation in media. It's a film that challenges deeply entrenched societal norms. It urges audiences to re-examine the stories we value and the voices we amplify. By centering the story of Alike, Pariah brings to the forefront a perspective that has long been marginalized in mainstream cinema. In doing so, Pariah breaks the mold of traditional coming-of-age narratives. While many films in the genre focus on themes of rebellion and self-discovery, they often center on white, cisgender, and heterosexual protagonists. Pariah defies this convention, offering a narrative that is at once deeply specific and still universally resonant. Alike's journey is uniquely hers, yet her struggles with self-acceptance, the longing for belonging, and the courage to embrace authenticity strike a chord that transcends boundaries of identity. The film boldly addresses the tension between individuality and societal expectations. Alike's world is one of dualities, between her family's religious conservatism and her burgeoning sense of self, between societal pressure to conform and her desire to live authentically. These tensions mirror the broader struggles faced by those whose identities don't fit neatly into societal norms. By portraying these conflicts with empathy and nuance, Pariah forces us to confront the often unspoken challenges faced by marginalized individuals. Through Alike's story, Pariah also challenges stereotypes about queer black identities. Too often, these narratives are reduced to one-dimensional depictions or relegated to the sidelines. Dee Rees ensures that Alike's voice is front and center, crafting a character who is complex, flawed, and human. This representation is not just important, it's revolutionary. Representation in media is about more than visibility. It's about authenticity and empowerment. When audiences see themselves reflected on screen, it validates their experiences and fosters a sense of belonging. And I would assume that for queer black viewers, Pariah offers a rare and precious reflection of their lives. It's a film that I think says that you are seen, you are valued, and your story matters. But the impact of representation extends beyond those directly reflected in the story. Pariah also serves as a bridge for audiences like myself who are unfamiliar with these experiences, cultivating empathy and understanding. By inviting us into her world, the film dismantles prejudices and expands the narrative possibilities of who gets to be the hero of a story. Even over a decade after its release, Pariah remains profoundly relevant. Alike's journey is a reminder of the power of authenticity, the courage it takes to stand in your truth, even when the world pushes back. Her story challenges all of us to question the ways we conform to societal expectations and to consider what it means to truly embrace ourselves and others. The film also underscores the necessity of creating spaces where all identities can thrive, whether in our families, communities, or institutions. We have a responsibility to foster environments of acceptance and support. And Pariah asks us to consider how we can better support those around us in their journeys of self-discovery. Pariah is not just a film to be watched. It's a work to be engaged with, reflected upon, and learned from. It stands as a testament to the power of independent cinema to push boundaries and tell the stories that mainstream Hollywood often overlooks. Its legacy is felt in the increasing visibility of intersectional narratives in media and the ongoing conversations about the importance of representation. For filmmakers, Pariah is a blueprint for how to tell personal, authentic stories that can resonate on a universal level. For audiences, it's a call to action to seek out, support, and celebrate diverse voices in storytelling. And for society, it's a reminder that progress begins with understanding, and that understanding begins with listening. Pariah is a beacon of hope and a rallying cry for change. Its significance lies not just in the story it tells, but in the worlds it opens up and the lives it touches. In centering the narrative of a queer black teenager, Pariah makes a bold and lasting statement. Everyone deserves to be seen, to be heard, and maybe most importantly, to be celebrated. As we close today's episode, I want to reflect on my connection to Pariah. As a straight, white, cisgender male, my lived experience is obviously different from Alike's. But one of the beautiful things about film is how it allows us to step into someone else's shoes. Watching Pariah challenged me to consider what it means to truly embrace who you are, especially when faced with societal or familial expectations that don't align with your authentic self. What resonated with me the most was how universal the themes of the film are: identity, love, resilience, and finding the courage to live authentically. These are ideas anyone can connect with, no matter their background. It's a testament to Dee Rees' storytelling and Adepero Oduye's incredible performance that a story so deeply rooted in one person's journey can feel so widely relatable. That's part of the reason why I'm giving Pariah a 9 out of 10. It's an unforgettable film, both in its artistry and its message. Now, next week, we'll explore 2015's Mustang, another coming-of-age story that examines the challenges of breaking free from societal constraints, this time in rural Turkey. Directed by Deniz Gamze Erguven, Mustang captures the power of sisterhood and the quiet rebellion against expectations. It's a visually stunning and emotionally gripping story, and I'm excited to dive into it with you. But first, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Pariah. Even if your life looks nothing like Alike's, did her story strike a chord with you in any way? What themes resonated most? Let's keep this conversation going, not just to discuss the film, but to reflect on how stories like these can broaden our understanding of ourselves and others. So leave a comment on this episode or come visit me over on social media at Real Talk on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky, at Real Talk Pod whenever I show up on X. Come talk to us. Let's keep the conversation going. And if you enjoyed today's episode at all, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share Real Talk with your fellow film lovers. Your support helps me continue exploring stories that shape and challenge us. But until next time, I'm Josh, signing off for Real Talk. But remember to keep watching, keep loving, and keep those reels rolling. We'll talk to you next time.